But I'm sure here's someone who will absolutely be the soul of discretion and charm and good language. She is a theater critic for a website called theaterscene.net, TheaterScene.net. Her name is Jeannie Lieberman, and she's going to weigh in on a couple of different categories, Tony nominations. Jeannie, are you with us?
I am definitely with you and raring to go.
And there's no cursing.
Already.
We'll have none of that.
It's nice to follow Simon because he is my acting president on OCC. My colleague.
Does he overact, though? Does he overact?
Sometimes. He's my colleague on Drama Desk. He is one of my writers on TheaterScene.net.
Oh, I didn't know. Cool. He covers New Jersey theater?
And sometimes New York. Yeah.
Great.
I love his opinions.
And we hear he really liked the show on 42nd Street recently.
Which one? Which one?
Oh, see, you weren't listening.
By the way, we quiz our
guests. You mean the Thunderbird girl?
He was listening.
Thunderbird girl? You mean you don't know who that is?
Whatever.
Suzanne Summers.
You know.
Okay.
I guess you don't own a Thigh Master, do you?
I thought, she
was once married to one. But, no, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Boys.
I know.
We have business here.
Yes, two business. Jeff, you want to read the nominations, please, for orchestration?
I would love to.
Please.
Because my favorite category is always the orchestrations of the musical. The nominees this time are Larry Blank for The Drowsy Chaperone, Dick Lieb and Danny Trube for The Pajama Game, Steve Orich for Jersey Boys, and Sarah Travis, who took away from Sweeney Todd.
She did.
Because it wasn't really orchestrating, it was like de-orchestrating the musical.
Exactly. But, before we get to that, I chose this category because I don't think anybody really understands it. And so I contacted my good friend Don Pippin, who won the only Tony Award for Music Director in 1963 for Oliver. And I asked him, I said, why orchestrators and not, why was your category dropped as music director? And what is the difference? And what does everyone do? And he explained it this way. He said, the music director is really the liaison between the composer and the entire musical production. The composer comes to the music director with his musical ideas. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's depending on the composer. And so then they discuss the content, the mood, the tempo, the intention of the music, and then the director works with the stage director and the choreographer. Mm-hmm. He rehearses. He's in on the casting procedure so that the right performers can sing. Will enhance the music, and then usually he can also be the vocal arranger and the dance music arranger. Usually though they definitely conduct.
And the orchestrator?
He could be the orchestrator, but what they do usually is suggest.
But what is the main difference between the music director and the orchestrator?
Well, it's like the president of the company and the secretary. I'm sorry to say that, but once all of this has been worked out, when the actors have been rehearsed and the vocal and everything is set up, the staging, the sequence, the tempo, and everything, then you go to the orchestrator, who fleshes it all out. He puts the actual music on the chart, decides...
Yeah, I thought the orchestrator takes the actual piano music, that is what the composer writes it as. This is the way my simple mind goes. It takes the piano music and then basically writes it in different parts for each piece of the orchestra.
He does, but there are many processes in between, before it's ready to be orchestrated. And that's what's worked out in the creative design and structure of the musical.
But is that the composer or is that the musical director?
The musical director with the composer.
Oh.
And then when it's all fleshed out and it's, everyone's rehearsed, then they bring in the orchestra and and that's the finished product. So when somebody comes into the theater, they don't really know who contributed what, to what they hear.
Right.
That's why the category is kind of embarrassing. Because he had once asked Isabel Stevens, Don Pippin, he said, well, why did you drop the category of musical director and in favor of orchestrator? And she said, because no one knows what the musical director is.
An orchestrator sounds like such a cool job.
And also, Isabel Stevenson was so old at that point, she was dropping everything. So, I don't know what that means.
Very possible.
Thank you. So we got to get to the actual category.
But this is, so what is reflected in the
So
nominations.
you're like going to go protest against the whole thing and not vote, huh? You go protest against the whole category, right?
No, not at all. But the ignorance of what an orchestrated does and the voters and the nominators is reflected in the nominations.
Right.
So, okay, what do we have? Of 4 categories, 4 nominations, we only have 1 original musical.
Right.
And that's from the beginning to the end. That's taking a show from scratch.
But, of course, Jersey Boys also had, all those songs had to be orchestrated.
Not necessarily. The prime focus was to keep it meticulously reproduce that sound and then augment it.
Yeah, I agree on that.
That's true.
So that's not very creative. Now you take Sweeney Todd. They took an entire...
I feel like the teacher's talking to me now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get a little
Sorry.
passionate on this, because I know you want to talk about Best Actor.
Well, don't tell Don Pippin I said that. Tell him he's right.
Well, he's listening.
I'm sure he is right.
He's listening, I'm sure.
Don, I'm sorry.
Isabel, I'm sorry if you're listening from wherever you are.
Well, anyway.
So pick one.
It's kind of stupid because,
Well, okay.
So the only one that's legitimate is Drowsy Chaperone.
So you think Larry Blank should get it?
Absolutely, and I also think that Wedding Singer should have been in there, and Color Purple because these are original musicals.
Okay.
So
okay.
Okay, and how about leading actor in a play? Which is Ralph Fiennes for Faith Healer, Richard Griffiths from the History Boys. I can never get Zelvienko Ivanek. Is that how you pronounce it?
Something like that.
Zelvienko. I don't know.
It's Rafe Fiennes, by the way. Rafe.
I keep doing that every time. I know it's Rafe Fiennes, and I keep reading Ralph because it's on the paper. It says Ralph.
Well, I had it done phonetically for me, so I wouldn't screw up.
See, well, I don't know. Dave doesn't do that.
No.
I'm not hooked on phonics here. And then we also have Oliver Platt from Shining City, and David Wilmot from The Lieutenant of Inishmore.
And, I couldn't have cared less.
Well, to quote one of the author's previous plays, we're sorry for that. And we're sorry for that.
Now, Rafe Fiennes, he is has the panache of a British superstar. And basically, he's pretty depressing in every mover I've seen. He's depressed and depressing. And so he was in The Faith Healer. It's a monologue.
Did you think he was better in Hamlet?
Well, yes, but in this play, he's definitely a fine actor. But this was a monologue. The definition of acting is to interact. And it was a monologue. And it was so obscure anyway. I defy you to tell me what really happened.
I just got hit on the wrist with that ruler again.
Oh, boy, a lot of people today did not like Faith Healer. I find myself in this weird position of defending the play and not quite the production, but okay.
Oh, can you tell me what happened at the end?
Off the air when we have time, yeah. I've seen the play 2 or 3 times, but...
Well, nobody's ever been able to explain it to me.
Oh, absolutely.
And I actually stayed awake.
He got beaten to death. Okay, I just saved you 2 hours and 45 minutes. So at the end of the day, he's beaten to death by these people because he's not able to heal a guy. There you go.
Okay.
And how about Richard Griffiths?
Well, let's go with...
Well, first of all, let's turn off our cell phones.
Zelko Ivanek. He did a fine.
You now pronounce his name better than I did too.
I'm sorry, but
Zelko Ivanek. I practiced that before.
Kay Mutiny should have gotten more nominations, I think, in a bunch of different things.
I
think it got a very short shrift this year.
I thought it did. I thought it was a wonderful play. But I think that I couldn't erase the Humphrey Bogart image when I watched him. It just didn't eclipse Bogey as Captain Queeg. I would think that Oliver Platt gave the breakout performance of the season.
Really?
And of his career. well, the play is really nothing more than a ghost story. It's very thin plot. And McPherson specializes in these Irish yarns. So a yarn and a ghost story is as good as the person who's telling it.
Yeah, but here, Jeannie, it's even though most of the best work that Oliver Platt does in Shining City, and he's mesmerizing for a good period of time, it's monologue, which is exactly the thing that you're against. He's literally goes on for 25 minutes uninterrupted telling his story. That's monologue.
Well, I guess so. But still, but he was mesmerizing. I was totally involved, Of course, I thought that the play was sort of a cheap trick at the end. And, of course, Richard Griffiths is the best of the best. There's no question about it. Beautiful performance, nuanced. He makes you feel smart. The play makes you feel smart.
Yeah, let me ask you something. First of all, when I got my seats, they were all the way to the side, so I hardly saw anybody.
Oh.
They really were. They were amazingly to the side.
Well, that's very poor set design.
Yeah, it was.
And
really,
directing.
Yes. But and maybe it's because I've let it be known quite a number of times that I'm not really crazy that I'm not crazy about the fact they brought History Boys to Broadway for like 6 weeks. They're going to grab some Tonys and leave and then.
Well, wait a second. So you don't know that it's not going to be extended like every other show?
No, they've already booked the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I think it's a privilege that we got to see it.
Yeah, but you come in. It's a limited, like really, really short run show that is not planning on extending because I don't remember what's moving.
Well, do you hold that
theater.
against 3 Days of Rain?
Yeah, well, of course, I wouldn't want to hold anything against
Might drown in the process. Well,
only if you're in the first 3
why
weeks.
don't you look at it this way of quality versus quantity?
I know, but I don't like I really hate the fact that it's there to pick up awards to push the movie.
But from what I've heard, they didn't expect this kind of reception, and they haven't gotten it on the road on the way to here. So it was a big surprise to them, our reception of this.
I mean, and also they may not have known when they were all planning this. I thought a pretty weak season for plays on Broadway. I mean, if you think about it, if that's the best of the lager, I think maybe Rabbit Hole might be a little bit better. That's not.
You thought Rabbit Hole was better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to the lead actress.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do lead actress.
So you just go with Richard Griffiths, though, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, lead actress. Here's another one of my little pet peeve things. Because there's no one in the show that's running. Kate Burton for The Constant Wife, Judy Kay for Souvenir, Lisa Crone for Well, Cynthia Nixon for Rabbit Hole, and Lynn Redgrave for The Constant Wife. First of all, where'd they get The Constant Wife for two?
Now, wait a second. I heard you guys talk about The Constant Wife earlier this evening, and, I disagree with you. It was a brilliant play.
Really?
Maybe it's a chick play, like a chick flick.
Yeah.
The woman comes... It was brilliant, and I
thought it was terribly tedious.
No, I thought it amusing, but I didn't think it was at all special. And
I nearly hit my date on the way out. I mean, she really energized me against...
Really?
Well, I mean, here's a woman who was, whose husband was cheating with her best friend. She didn't want the scandal of being divorced, so she had to be smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
And she turned it around so that eventually she got everything she wanted. Her husband was, had the broken heart. She had a new lover, and
but I didn't think that the performances were anything special.
Oh, she dominated. She manipulated. She kept everything moving on the stage. I mean, Kate Burton is really a featured performer in that because just her name was above the title, but it was Lynn Redgrave's show, and I thought she was.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kate Burton all that time. Isn't that interesting?
Right.
Until you just said you were talking about Lynn Redgrave. I thought you were talking about Burton.
No.
No,
Lynn Redgrave was the motivator, the prime mover of that play.
Yeah, because otherwise I would think of her as a featured performer, too, in that role.
Lynn Redgrave?
Yeah.
No, she was the constant wife.
So would you vote for her? Would she be your...
I would hands down vote for her, but she won't get it.
Over Judy Kay in Souvenir.
Really?
Judy Kay...
Oh, that was a musical, not really a play.
No, Judy Kay... If you know any singers, trained singers, how difficult it is to sing off key.
That's exactly.
And she's a great singer. She's a great actress. Judy Kay also deserves the award, but maybe that more a musical than a play. I'm not sure. But she did a brilliant job. But it was small. It was an intimate production. I don't know that it really needed to be on Broadway. I think it was more effective off Broadway, actually.
Yeah, but being on Broadway, I thought it really brought Broadway audiences to that show.
I also liked it more on Broadway.
Which really deserved to be seen. I mean, it was a wonderful tale about this woman who no one's really heard about. I mean, a lot of people know about her. But, I love when you just learn about this.
That's right. It's a real woman that makes it very special.
Oh,
it's a sweet little play. And I like, as I said, the second time I saw it, I liked it better.
Do you know if they film that at all?
I wish they would.
I would
wish
love
they would
to
open it up and
a
film
DVD
it.
of that.
And that touching moment at the end when she sings what she hears in her head.
Oh, that was. I mean, it was. Well, who really should have got a nomination too was that piano player.
He was nice.
He was spectacular.
And so much better than the off-Broadway guy. That's what made the difference.
Yes, he was.
The off-Broadway guy was just like I couldn't act, and he was just like a schlub.
Yeah, he was.
It made a big difference.
On Broadway, you knew this guy really He at first, I mean, you knew in the beginning it was a job, and then it became his passion.
Yes, he got suckered in.
Oh yeah, well, like everyone did.
Yeah. It was a wonderful. It didn't have a very long run.
Unfortunately, no,
No,
it was making no money at all.
Yeah,
it was also in, it was in the Lyceum, for God's sakes, on the wrong side of Broadway, and nothing ever sells over there, right? Except for the magic show.
It's Kite.
Well,
Lisa Cron was also playing herself, so
yeah, nobody.
I don't think that was much.
The New York Times liked Will. Nobody else did.
Nobody else did. So the person that's left.
Well, Cynthia Nixon also did a fine job.
The elephant in the room is Cynthia Nixon.
Yeah.
I didn't like the play. I've seen Cynthia Nixon in off-Broadway shows where she was positively luminous, and of course everybody loves her from television. So,
right. Well, when you have Sex in the City, you have to be nominated.
One of my idols, yes, but she wasn't my favorite role. But never mind. But she did a creditable job.
Yeah. Well, you can't really be luminous in that role.
No,
she's
you can't.
Mother of a dead child.
No,
it's kind of hard to walk on stage and go.
I
like the fact that who was it who thought it was a musical?
Oh yeah,
maybe it will be.
Yeah, somebody earlier, yeah.
If they can make if they can make Leopold and Loeb a musical, they can make Rabbit Hole a musical too somehow. Your child is dead, but you go on.
Very good, very good. It'll get Judy Kay to sing it for us. A little off key.
Just a little. Well, thanks for being so on key and in tune with us. Jeannie Lieberman, and again, folks should go to your website.
I'm the editor of TheaterScene.net.
TheaterScene.net, which has reviews from New York and also other places too, right, all over?
Oh, we're just opening an L.A.
How about the Vegas
office.
stuff? Are you going to cover the Vegas stuff?
If they would send a ticket.
Well, and the plane tickets, yeah.
Yeah, if they send a ticket, I would go.
There you go.
But I don't hear it's no big deal out there. Nothing seems to thrive in that.
Oh, yeah, just a very quick thing, Jeannie. I'm sorry. But I saw, of all things, I saw Starlight Express in Vegas, and it was great.
Hey, I liked it when I saw it here.
No, they changed it. It was much better in London, but they went right back to the London roots, and it was wonderful there. I just couldn't believe it. It was better in Vegas.
It's very suited for that area.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being so wonderfully suitable for us on this Tony show.
Segues
yeah, all right. I'm getting better at them as the night goes on. Jeannie, thank you so much. It's been great.
My pleasure.